Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on folks. It's me, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bobbing, talking to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we get about another few more days till Christmas time, and about another couple of weeks till New Year's. God, can you believe it? It seems like we just started, this year, and now we're just around the corner to another year. I mean, time is flying by. Folks, I appreciate y'all support of my content and also of my channel. I got some news for you, and this is some news that I really want to share with you. I got an opportunity to sit in on a little discussion, and it was with the Female Bodybuilding channel. And for me, I mean, it's something great because I won't call them peers as much as we're fans and supporters of women in bodybuilding. We do interviews and we do content. Their style is a little different from mine. They're European and I'm here in the United States. And it was just nice to talk to these guys. It's not my first time dealing with them because we did a panel, was it about a few years ago? And it was a great opportunity to sit and talk with them and some other people that were there. But it's going to be posted sometime later on this week. Hope y'all check it out. Once I know about it, once it's posted, and y'all see it, I'll make sure I'm putting it out everywhere because I want people to see this because this helps me and also helps you who are fans of the sport of bodybuilding of the ladies. So shout out to AJ and JB, Female Body Channel. Appreciate the opportunity, brothers. Thank you. Especially from a poor broke, two bad knees, broke small like myself, who are, I really, it really gives me that pat on my back. What I'm doing is good work, and people like you really appreciate what I'm doing. So anyway, folks, we're going to talk discussion of should be some substances to be banned in bodybuilding. Well, listen, I think there's supposed to be some kind of substance list where some things are banned, but then there's that controversy again about the use of synthetic oils, which is it's a product that's used for cosmetic reasons. Quite a few bodybuilders, not just bodybuilders, everyday people use it. Give you a brief history of it. As it goes like this. It's synthetic oil is a site enhancement oil composed primarily of 8% of oil, often medium chain triglycerides, sesame or almond oil, 7.5 lidocaine, a local anesthetic, and another 7.5 alcohol used as a sterilizer. It's injected directly into the muscles by bodybuilders for cosmetic purpose to artificially increase muscle volume and appearance. That's the definition of it. But it's not just bodybuilders. Other people use it too, especially models and also certain entertainers, because they give them that look. Like I said, I worked in the strip club back in the day. Some girls used to, because especially in a black strip club, the thing is the booty makes your money. So anyway, as we discuss this, and I hope my guests were here. We have one of my guests here sitting in the corner. My young nephew here, Alex, is here, and welcome Alex, and we thank him for his time. He is a particular fan of the ladies, and he's been a world traveler. Just as it wasn't that long ago, he went to Olympia. I got to meet Alex at Tampa. I mean, hope to see more of him in the future.
Also, too, yeah.
Yeah, but the story is going on really as it wasn't that long ago that the current Miss Olympia champion, that's Natalia Quayle, is being accused of using this product. This is always going to be like she's being accused by the the last previous champion, and that's Sarah Vilgas. This is a thing. It's just been going on for a while now. People, here's the thing is, some say that it is a bit of Sarah's case of sour grapes. Some say it's just how things go. But this is just, as like again, I said I'm not a big fan of either one of them, but I respect their work and everything. So what do folks? I'm gonna post a little video I found, and it's Natalia, talking, and I think she's explaining her situation, more likely addressing the situation with Sarah. So I'll pull it up here. Second.
Champ knows how to win, knows how to lose. You got to be professional. You got to respect your, whoever's competing against you, not only us, but also the industry.
Mm.
I don't think false accusations serve any good for anybody in here. And I honestly was just disappointed to hear that because when I lost, I was very professional. I kept it classy, graceful. I did everything that I was supposed to do, came back better, worked harder. And that's how I think we should approach that, not trying to make someone looks bad for you to look better or whatever.
Well, she addressed Sarah's accusation. Um, Fair to say, but again, is that there's some things that people are feeling like, I don't know, there's some people kind of shaking their head about it, like, especially after her last year when she did the Olympia. As you notice, her quads had looked like they have put on a lot more size. Now, this is just, I know it takes a lot of time, but again, I am an outsider. I'm not a professional. I'm just a fan. So, what's your thoughts, Alex?
I don't. Honestly, I really think. Honestly, I don't think she ever took them. I think she really. I take her word for it. She is a doctor. I think she would probably know what's really appropriate, what could be useful for her career as a professional. I really think she. I don't know. If someone would ever use that oil, I don't know, would have been used for medical treatment or any would have been used for medical treatment, not just to enhance how you look or anything. Just be yourself. There's not don't have, you can't just use it to cheat or anything.
Yeah. Well, we have here is a man who's been in the game for quite some time. My big brother here, my man, Mr. Big Keith Williams.
Hey Keith,
How
What
you
up?
doing? Hey, what you
how you
doing?
been, Keith?
Good. How
You
you
know,
been, Alex?
yeah.
Been busy. Oh, that's happened.
Me and him have talked about this, and also his lovely wife. Is she around? Is she around, Keith? Yeah. you know, yeah, yeah. Because I'm still, again, my man has to handle my girl. I guess. Girl later. But what's your thoughts? Because we have talked about this quite often.
it's very suspect, and you guys have to understand there's a difference between PMMA and synthol injections. And the guy from 5% a long time ago who passed away, he was going to Mexico. It's kind of like concrete, that gets injected in your body is, but that's it. But that's very scientific what they're doing, and it's Chris Comer didn't say it. I don't know if you guys seen the interview with Gundy and him on their show, The Muscle Deal, and he was, for a guy like a Gundy to sit here and try to chastise Chris Comer, who's a Hall of Famer, one of the top trainers in the industry, and knows what it looks like, feels like, and everything else. Because I'm not going to name names, but I know guys before this PMMA came out who were using synthol. And synthol, what people have to understand about synthol, you can't test it because it's a synthetic oil, and the thing about it is to volumize the muscle. So what it does is push the oil pushes, stretches out the fasciitis to make the muscles fuller and bigger. I know one story of a old head bodybuilder who did the New York Pro and literally did it right before he went on stage. And he was a big time bodybuilder who did it right before he went on stage. There's needles backstage and this, that, and the other. And then you pump up. So usually what people have to understand about synthol is that the difference between the PMMA, which is a very hard drug to get,
Mm.
and the synthol, you can order it in the United States. That's why, here's the thing. If you guys remember when they were calling out Derek on stage, when he had those lumps underneath his show, and I can send you the picture, it was evident that something had happened. Here's the thing. You're not just going to go to this guy's office for no reason. And so people can sit here, and here's the thing. for a woman to put on that much size in a year is hard to do, no matter who you were. So Sarah may have been wrong about synthetic oil because she didn't know much about, and I didn't even know much about PMMA until I looked it up and found out what it was, because a lot of people know about it. And clearly, if it's this guy who this muscle cord who's going on and putting people on blast, and I love it because, you know, a lot of the shit is true. You know, with the scorecards changing and shit, like they do. I experienced it firsthand as a competitor, as an amateur, as a pro. I can consider I've dealt with it firsthand and experienced it. So when it comes to Sarah calling out her, she knew something was different. It's not like, you know, it's not like Natalia doesn't train hard, but you can clearly see things in the aesthetics of her body that just doesn't look right to go together. And that's just facts. So people can call her a fucking poor sport or whatever, but no offense at all to you two. You guys are fans of the sport. You don't understand the game. And you don't understand the game from the standpoint of what some of these athletes are now willing to do in order to, and that's why Ronnie just came out last week and says, none of these guys would ever be able to compete with us because they're not willing to work as hard as we do. All this fancy shit that's out there, Synthol is an old drug, so it's been out there since Ronnie and Marcus Rule and all these guys. You know, even when Flex Cass got big, I think before the Long Beach Pro, everybody thought he was using Synthol. Some people thought he got calf implants. We'll never know. You know, but again, what people don't understand is you just can't test for it. So you can do whatever you want, but it's something that it's an oil, so it's just something, and it's painful. Trust me, I've tried it. It's fucking very painful. I've tried it. I'm not gonna lie. Love to lie to you guys. I tried it. I thought, you know, it was very painful and I didn't like it, so I stopped it. You know, and what it does is volumizes the muscle. That's what it does. But this PMMA is a different drug. This is, I mean, if you look at the video, I don't know if you guys went on Muscle Cords deal and watch how they're drawing on these athletes. And there was actually another video, on a place in India, India or overseas, where they were actually cutting people open, putting pec implants in, putting calf implants in, doing shit to people, and I'm like, this is just insane.
Thanks.
You know, so, and again, Gundy, you know, and his brother are gonna, you know, defend it. You know why? Because his brother's in bed. Why is Tamer never in the States anymore? Why is he overseas more than he in the States now? You know, and if you look at the picture of Derek,
Well, here I'm just
bicep, there's clear evidence of something, and I don't think that's synthol, but I'm sure it's probably. I mean, again, this guy has video. And what he says he calls called the whistleblower, has videos of these guys, Sarah or Natalia, Derek. Look underneath his armpit. Look, the black spots. Everybody was questioning this shit.
well, here he is. This is the
And then I'm just trying to connect the dots, and we can speculate from there. But I've never once said that Derek Lunsford has done PMMA injections. So I'm going to put that on the record. I have not said that, so stop trying to put words in my mouth, Chris Aceto. Chris Aceto's a smart man. I don't necessarily not like Chris Aceto, but some of the things he says and some of the just straight up protecting Derek, and I get he's going to have bias towards Derek, but he can't call out anything. He can't call out Derek's arms. He can't call out Derek's lats. You know, he's got to just ride the line, and I get it. But everyone and their grandmother can see that it just looks a little weird. The muscles are smoothed out. They're blurry. This isn't Ronnie Coleman. This isn't Cormier. This isn't LeBronish style quality muscle Yates. This doesn't look like this. And then you have Ronnie Coleman in the interview with Eddie Hall saying, if you competed against these guys, against Derek Lunsford, how would you do? And Ronnie just laughs. He's like, I wouldn't even have to train that hard to beat these guys. What does that say about today's athletes? When the former champions can just laugh? Of course not. This would be a walk in the park to beat these guys.
Yeah. And this is also the situation with Tariq, as you know, is my big brother mentioned this earlier.
Just for shoulders, judges that Let me finish.
Shut up, Derek. How fucking you cut off Chris Cormier? This guy's a fucking legend in our sport. And you have the balls to just continue to fucking dig at Chris Cormier and cut him off mid-sentence? Like, respect. Show some respect, Tarek. Who the fuck are you? Okay?
Exactly.
How did you even get your fucking position in this?
Your brother.
Yeah, and here is, I think we have here the full, it should be right here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, if you want to
I
see
tell him I'm not stopping. Actually, the more you come at me, the more I come at your boy. I'm right here.
Well, let's keep riding.
Here's the hilarity of you.
Slide on it. Slide.
You're like in those old Bugs Bunny cartoons. The sheepdog and the wolf, the coyote that used to fight, but then they'd clock in. How's it doing, Jerry? Good to see you, Frank. And then off camera, what's up, my baby? Love you. You coming to Christmas? And then here,
I
That's
tell
what we
him,
do half the time.
man,
Here is.
I judged the event, and I did not see anything on Natalia Coelho's physique that called to be suspicious. And I have a very good eye.
and you were
very good eye.
And you were 8 feet away.
Yeah, I have a very good eye. I've noticed a lot of things that other judges go, Tarek, hold on. You're right. I have a very good eye for butt implants,
but judges,
for shoulders, for all that. Let me finish before I actually clock
judges. Well,
okay.
Get the clock in.
So
get the clock in.
You know what I mean? I did not see anything suspicious on Natalia Coelho's physique.
Whatever.
I judged the event.
That just tells you how fucking naive you are, you fucking loser.
With Tariq, we all know where his bread is buttered. His brother takes care of him. We have here, shout out to the man, Money J. He says, it's interesting that this IFB substance thing is out after the whole accusation from Sarah Vickers bashing Natalia about synthol oil. All right. Also, he says the timing of it is suspicious. Right? There's no time when something comes out. Also, he says I'm with Alex on this about Natalia. Appreciate that. Also, he said this. He also says Sean Ray and Bob C were calling out Chris Cormier, saying he's a hypocrite when he's a bodybuilder and takes substance too. So
again, here's the thing that you guys have to understand, and I'm only going to say this fucking one time. It's not a substance. It's an oil. It's a synthetic oil. Substance is anabolic steroids. That's a substance. This is a synthetic oil. It's like an enhancer. So it's not something that's it stretches out the fasciitis. So look it up. It stretches out the fasciitis. You usually use it, like if you have a prime example, if you have a lagging body part, then you put it in that lagging body part. You usually wait 30 to 60 minutes before you go to the gym, and it helps stretches out the fasciitis to make that muscle fuller or bigger. That's all it does. It's not going to make you stronger. It just stretches out the fasciitis to make it bigger. If you look at Sarah's legs and you really understand the sport, and how the fuck, and I said this on Muscle, actually made a post and he tagged me in it. I said, the problem that we have is you got Tarek and these judges judging shows that don't know shit about the sport, that think they know something about the sport because they were grandfathered in by a sibling, and I won't name names, but by a sibling who think they know something about the sport. That's why here's a prime example. The year that the judge couldn't make it to the Omaha Pro that Tina did, you know what the number one question the athletes were asking about the show? Do you know? Who was the head judge? Because that makes a difference. And he was the head judge. And it was a fucking shit show. Let's be real. So when people are sitting here agreeing with amateurs who don't know shit about the sport, no offense to all guys, I know. I've used the shit, and I don't know if Chris ever used it, so I don't know why you would call him a hypocrite. But if you listen to the whole interview, which Chris said, when you look at her quads and the separation of her quads, because what happens is you lose some Big Ramy is another prime example. Hade Koopa, I'll call him out. They were talking about his shoulders in Toronto one year, how he had you can see it. if you have an eye for the sport and you know what it looks like, you can see it. A lot of guys and a lot of girls are using either synthol or now this new drug called PM, and I didn't even know about it. I had to go and research it after it came out. I'm like, what is this? And if you watch the video with them in the clinic and what he's doing to these athletes, the before and after, it's fucking insane. But again, there's side effects and permanent effects to everything. So when everybody's wanting to sit here and say Sarah's hating, she's not hating. She knew something was suspicious because she's been in the sport a long time and she understands how hard she works and how hard some of these other girls work and understands how much time it takes to put on size, not on a guy necessarily, but a girl. And if you look at her pictures from 2024 to 2025, and I understand she's a doctor and all this other stuff, it doesn't say that she wasn't training hard, it's very fucking suspect. It's very suspect. But you got to know the sport and understand what the drugs do to understand it.
Well, we have here a man, I call him, he's our Merlin. This is our man, Jeremy, aka the Art of Female Muscle. Thank you for coming through, brother. And I know,
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, guys.
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah,
Jerry?
we talked about it a bit, before. Is it cheating or is it just like anything like the process of any bodybuilder used to help them as they grow their muscle?
As far as what, taking oil?
Oil or the PMM? Maybe?
I wouldn't lump it in as that. I mean, he's correct. It's an oil, not a substance. But I mean, it falls under the category of enhanced, regardless.
Yep.
Whether it's an oil or a substance.
Somebody knows what they're talking about. I appreciate it.
Who is not enhanced?
Yeah.
In IFBB pro bodybuilding. I mean, anybody, as far as I'm concerned, that's why I call hypocrisy on this. No offense, but I call hypocrisy on it because that's just a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Say, oh, well, you're taking an oil. Yeah, but what the fuck are you taking? Maybe you're not taking oil, but you're taking a substance. You're enhanced just like they are. So quit calling out people for being enhanced when you're enhanced too.
But
that's
the difference is...
That's just the way I see it.
But the difference is, it's like, George, when you sit me... Like, here's a prime example. The whole wellness bullshit. A lot of these girls are going to get butt implants. So what are you really doing? What are you really doing? It's not like getting tits. You're actually getting ass implants.
Right.
To make your ass bigger. The same thing with this oil. It's cheating to a certain degree, but the substance aspect of whether it's a test or EQ or anabolic type of steroids, everybody we know, not everybody, but most of the pros are doing it. Not all the pros, and I remember, prime example, and Marcus Rule was a guy, was a fucking freak of nature.
He was.
But
yeah.
I remember hearing the story him backstage at the fucking New York Pro, 20 needles, pop, 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 and then going to pump up and jump on stage. And you remember, Marcus Rule just didn't look right. He didn't.
You're absolutely right.
But that was part of it, So again, I always tell people it's a fucking painful process, and this PMMA, the problem with it is like getting a butt implant because they're surgically now. If you watch that video, I watched the video where they're doing actual chest implants on these competitors overseas, and calves and quads. It's crazy. I'm like, no fucking way would I do that to my body just to compete. It's just no way. But again, you can say whatever you want about Sarah, but she understood there was more to Natalia than what she was letting on to be. And clearly all that shit's coming out. Whether it's Steve ripping up scorecards, whether it's these athletes or Derek. I mean, look at that picture of Derek and look underneath his armpit. And everybody was talking about it. And then it kind of went away. About his armpits. The year before that? I mean, look at Big Ramy. Big Ramy, when I competed against him, and here's the problem what people don't understand about these drugs. It takes away from detail. So when even Dorian said it, when you're looking at Chris and when you're looking at Kevin and you're looking at Ronnie and when you're looking at Sean, the detail was there. And that's why Ronnie was like, I'll smoke these guys any day of the week. And what have I always said on this show? The 90s era was the best era in bodybuilding because all they believed was hard fucking work. Not fucking taking, or some athletes did, not many did, but somebody like Marcus Rule was part of that era who did the synthetic oil and things. But these guys just worked their ass off. And they knew that Derek, Hade, Samson, all these guys that compete in this era, if they were to step on stage with them, they wouldn't have a chance. They just wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, we have your comment. Shout out to our man, Money J. Sickling, he says, when Chris Camille was saying he kind of sees some possible injections in a suitable way with Natalia. Shout out to our girl. No, I'm sorry, my man, KL the Wonder says, good evening, gentlemen. I appreciate that. Also,
what up,
this is from a man, Money J says, Heidi Choplin, he spelled it wrong, says, didn't go on, he says, didn't go on social media and complain about Derek using synthol oil like a sourpuss. He went back.
He was doing the same shit.
Yeah, he went back to the gym and worked harder, unlike Sarah, who went on social media and whined. I Sarah made an appearance. As you know, this weekend was the Nationals. Shout out to some ladies I interviewed. They got their pro cards. Shout out to them. But she was there, and actually she did an interview with one of the ladies after the show. I was kind of when I saw her on the stage passing out the award for the overall winner for Women's Physique. I was surprised, but there's still people who are supportive fan of hers. We got here our dear friend, the lovely Miss Nicole Strauss, OCB Pro, future IFB Pro. He says, "Hey everyone, hey Nicole."
Hello.
Shout to our man here, John Simpkins says, "What's up? What's up, brother?" Also, our man Rahi Hamilton. The real question is it illegal or not? If not, why have this conversation? If so, then ban it. That's the thing is, the question is,
sorry, I'm laughing because what the fuck is not banned?
Exactly.
What the fuck is not illegal about any of this?
Here's the thing. If you remember, Jeremy, I think it was 92 or 93, and the IFBB tried to ban the diuretic aspects of things. And so they were just testing for diuretics. And it was probably one of the worst Olympias it ever was. Guess what happened? They didn't ban it after that. Because people are coming to see fucking freaking natures. So, I mean, bottom line, that's what it's about. But, like you said, what's banned? Nothing.
Right. But this is what's pissing me off about this whole, when I saw this come out, and I didn't see I haven't seen all of it yet. I've only seen the clips that other people have said about this, but that's what's pissing me off about this. One of the oldest rules of investigative journalism also happens to be one of the oldest rules of law. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. When you are still tossing around words like suspicious, possible, allegation, shit like that, nothing's proven. Because an allegation by definition is an unproven assertion or an unsupported assertion. So you can make suggestions and you could point to this, you could point to that aspect of the picture. If you don't have the hardcore data, you don't have the proof, you don't have the receipts. Like when they said this about this supposed guy, I guess, who is in Brazil and afraid for his life, talking about this network of doctors or something like that. It's like, fine, you made an assertion. Rule is burden of proof. Back it up. Put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It was videos of them in the lab.
Okay, but wait, where have they shown those?
Yeah, those things could be anything.
Where have they shown those though? See, I am not adverse to seeing proof. I'm not adverse to hearing another point of view. But I also know the rules of debate, and that's quite simply is, if you make an assertion like that, the burden of proof is on you to show that that's the case. If you don't have it, there's no reason to believe it. You can make suspicion, you can have suspicions and such like that. You got to have the proof. Otherwise, it doesn't. Because otherwise, I can make absurd allegations like that. I don't know jack shit about steroids or PEDs or enhancement, other than the fact it exists.
Well, here's the prime example. When Iris was she ended up placing 6th at the Arnold, never lost to Arnold, placed 6th. Why did she place 6th? Everybody remember that?
Well, I was there. I was at
You
that
remember?
show,
You
and then I
remember
was,
why?
It
but
was
then I was, but then she was removed from finals as
yeah,
well.
But you
And
remember why?
I remember why.
The
yes.
hematomas on her glutes.
hmm I do remember that.
So again, when the eye and I always tell people when the eye and the sky don't lie, and if you have an eye for it, you know what it looks like. That's why Chris was like, something doesn't seem right. He didn't make an allegation. He says, Chris has been in the sport for a long time. I train with him. He's fucking brutal. It's awesome. He's a very intense person. But eyes in the skies don't lie. And these old heads are looking like, okay, yeah, if you match up body parts, and again, Big Ramy was a prime example of that. No offense and all. I mean, this dude had the fucking biggest legs on the planet, but you already knew what was going on. He just didn't have big legs. I mean, and here's the problem: what people don't understand is, you can look at Natalia and look at her, and she lacked some of the detail that she did the year before because of whatever she was doing. Big time. Look at the pictures. The detail in her legs from 2024 to 2025, there's a big ass difference. Hadi Koopa did the Toronto Pros. I mean, everybody was talking about his shoulders. Like, what, you got a shoulder now on top of another shoulder? The human anatomy does not allow for that.
Okay, but here's my question. I mean, I was at the Miss International when when this whole thing happened with her, and I remember when she was pulled from national, she was pulled from the finals, and it was a shock to everybody. It's like here's arguably the greatest female bodybuilder in history, and here she is. She's coming in. I'm trying to remember what the round was, but it's like she is pulled from the finals, and you're correct. It's because of what people were citing. Why did this not happen with Natalia? If everybody has got such a good eye about this, if everybody is saying, oh, well, then if people would have seen the same thing, why didn't Natalia get pulled from the lineup just like Iris did?
Hey, see, you got to go back and look at the video of the guy look at the doctor is actually on stage with his brother in Brazil promoting shows, and he's in the bed with Tamer, and Tamer's making money off the shit too. So, of course, like, what did he say in this video? Oh, I was there, and nothing looked different to me. Of course it doesn't look different to you, because your pockets are being fucking lined by the same person.
But again, also, he's not a head judge. That's Sandy who's a head judge. And you think that I think Sandy would said something if she noticed something, because she's been in the game for a long time. Where we got a comment here, shout to my man, Rahim says, doesn't PEDs enhance as well? It's part of the process.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a
Also,
big difference.
yeah. Also, he says,
Oil.
these are influencers more than bodybuilders today. Yes, kind of right, because a lot of these they don't have even walk on the stage. Like Sam Sulek is a good example of that. He finally got his pro card. Shout out to also here right here. I believe the 70s and 80s era was the best because they worked really hard. Yeah. We got here. Yeah, in the 90s too. I can get nice a little bit. We got here from a man, Money J says, whether it's oil or substance, it doesn't matter. All these bodybuilders, athletes are enhanced regardless. It's not against any IFBB rules. But the thing is, should certain things be, if it feels like especially if you all hear stories of, like one thing with especially use diuretics, if you use it, like we had that young lady, Jody Vance, who passed away from diuretic use, and she was like maybe like a few weeks out from competition, and dehydration can happen. I use diuretics because again I have a large heart condition, and because what it does, it keeps the fluid off my heart from surrounding, from drowning it. Here also is from my man, Rahim says the real issue is you need judges who have good eyes to judge each bodybuilder's band. The thing is,
you know what I said? You know what I said, George, on Muscle Cord's deal the other day when he was on live? I said you need to bring in pro bodybuilders. Why do we have a bunch of fucking people on a judging panel who are not pros and not really, no offense at all, don't know what the fuck they're looking at? Because guess what? They're setting the criteria. And they set the criteria all based off of what they think they should know. Think about let's put it this way. If you had a Sean and you had a Chris Cormier and you had a let's say Iris Kyle and you had some bodybuilders who actually, and let them judge one show the way they wanted to, the outcomes will be completely fucking different. Because they put in the time, they put in the energy, and understand what they're doing. Fuck Chris Aceto. What the fuck has he done? I mean, like, some of these, what drives me crazy about some of these trainers who want to get on difference? Like you jump on the coattails of some of these pro bodybuilders, but who have you trained from the ranks of the amateur level and built them all the way up to who they are? None of them.
Only person he trained is his son, and he was, as you remember, Chris was married to Laura Craval, but he was just a husband. Just like good example of that is Steve Weinberger. He was married to Bev Francis, but he never competed as a bodybuilder. But everybody takes his advice as the rule of God. You look at Tyler Mannion, who's never been on the stage, who's everybody goes to him for the feedback, but you never, even though your family is part of the sport, you've never been active in the sport as an athlete. Folks, I'm gonna pull this video. And I found this video because we go talk about the subject of use of oils or PMAs. Goes back to a situation a few years ago where
I remember this.
This is from Team Flex, and they're talking about one Dr. Sunny Andrews. If you know who Sunny Andrews is, she is a wellness competitor. She competed, I think last time she competed was 2024. A very popular competitor, but then there was all suspicious about her. So we're gonna pull this here.
As far as what that actually is, that's going to be up to speculation. But, very, very lean, very striated in the quads. And this glute development just does not match at this point. It does not fit her physique. I'm not sure exactly. To me, honestly, it looks like it's some type of an enhancement, maybe a synthol, or, it could be even some type of a plastic surgery. And people have said this stuff about her physique before, and she's denied it. But honestly, it is looking to be that this is just totally out of the normal, right? This is like, even looking at the leg development, the hamstring, the quad, and everything coming into this just does not make sense. And it just doesn't match. And the judges, I think, are thinking similar along those lines. And that's, kind of the reason that she's probably placing down so much further. All right. I would definitely say it has a lot to do with this. And I mean, look at this back shot here. It just does not really make any sense. If this was hypertrophied strictly for muscle, we would see a lot more conditioning going on with the glute itself. You'd see some kind of striations and threads maybe here and there a little bit. Like, look how lean the upper body is compared to what's going on here. So again, it's, I'm not going to say for sure that something is at play here, synthol or enhancements. I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I would say something is definitely going on that just does not add up to this being the correct development period for, what judges want to see. And, that's also why she's scored down on this level, in my opinion. She's not in that top call out. She's in literally the third call out, which is going from first to third at an Olympia. It is difficult to do. Usually first placings at Olympia, you're going to see an athlete be, maybe moving a few here or there, or maybe moving down to the top of the second call. We actually did see that with Julie, who was actually in, first call out last year at Olympia, placed. She did move down to second call-outs, but I mean, this is just, I really wanted to highlight this to say if physiques are getting pushed too far, it's going to score you down, okay? And that's where, Sunny kind of did this. I'm not sure exactly how or why her glutes look this way, but this has pushed her way too far. Judges are seeing it, and they are scoring in, and she did not place in the top call out either. She was actually in the first call out, but she's not in the top 5. Doesn't look like she's gonna be in the top 6 or 7 even. So she's going to be moving down in placings as well this year, which is, again, a kind of crazy thing for that to happen here at this Olympia. So I want to kind of highlight why that might have happened with her. And I think it's what I said in my last video. She has pushed her physique too far from a muscularity and size standpoint, okay? So if we look at her shots here, you can see, she's got this development to the shoulders. She's got a lot of the really good framework. She's had this type of physique before for a long time. She's had it, but she pushed it too far. Like, her symmetry and everything is good still. It's all correct. but realistically, it's just too much muscle on her frame. And I think that's really what put her down in placings this year. She also did not really nail her conditioning, but I think that's because she came in trying to have so much muscle that it just overpowered her physique and her ability to even get lean enough at this point. I mean, you can see from the back shot here, there's a lot of shape, a lot of muscle going on, but there's not a lot of that condition and not a lot of like that fine tuning shape. You can see there's definitely the markings here of the wellness physique, but it's blurred in the sense of conditioning not being there per se, and also just too much size overall. So realistically, I think that the judges have made a pretty good statement this year so far. We'll see how placings go tonight by the end of it, and I will be doing a full Olympia, physique, let's talk about what the judges changed.
Yeah, this is about both Sunny and Yushina. Yushina was a very popular competitor. We had seen her active for a while. I remember I interviewed a lady who turned pro a while back, and she was working with Yushina. They were working out together, and she told me it was like a great opportunity for her because she was probably one of the popular wellness competitors. We have here comment here from shout to my man Rocky Hamilton says this. He says, Keith, sometimes not even pros know. Look at how WE put former pro wrestlers as bookers and how bad they are at that, or former basketball players who sucks as coaches. Well, not all the time. Sometimes you have a few, it's usually the superstars. Like I remember Larry Bird when he was coaching the Patriots.
Your mic's off, Keith.
Here's the thing, Raheem. What you're saying makes absolutely no sense because there's some fucking people who understand that a Tom Brady, a Michael Jordan, some LeBron James for that matter, understand that they're built to maybe manage and own a team, but they're not built to be coaches. That's just the bottom line. It's the same thing in NFL. You got these coordinators going. I mean, think about this in the NFL. We'll take this as a prime example because I pay attention to it all the time. You got these guys who are coordinators to go to other places, and they become head coaches. Now, everybody's built to be a head coach. Now, everybody's built to be a leader. Some people are just built to be coordinators because that's what they're good at. And so that's the difference. And so there's a thing where that guy's talking about, he's talking about smooth muscle versus conditioning. And you guys cannot tell me by looking at Natalia's pictures, if you look at if you can pull them up and look at 2024 and look at 2025, there's a lot more smooth muscle than muscle detail.
What did I say when I saw her on stage? What's the first thing I said when I saw her pictures at the Olympia?
What?
You could
go ahead, Tina. You got the floor.
Yeah. And like Tina said, you can tell when she went on stage that she was doing something different.
I said it right away when I saw her.
As soon as Tina seen her on stage, she goes, she's doing something different. She didn't say it was synthol. She didn't say it was PMMA. She goes, she's doing something different because, again, what that guy is talking about, when you use these oils, and here's a prime example. I just looked at a video of me competing against Big Ramy in New York Pro, can't remember, 8, 9 years ago. He was a big-ass dude, and that was probably one of the dudes who I said, compared to myself, I'm like, this is a big-ass guy. But if you look at his picture, he had these big quads, but he just lacked details. And when you're talking like a Sean, and you're talking to a Chris Cormier, and you're talking to a Dorian Yates, and you're talking to a Ronnie Coleman, that's why they call that. That's why this shit's laughable to them. If you're talking to Iris Kyle, who was the hardest working woman in the sport, who took it to the extreme, and that's kind of why the women's bodybuilding went back, and I'm not knocking her for it, but she took it to the extreme where she was so. I remember seeing her in I think it was 09. I can't remember when it was, and she was just got off stage with Prejudge. She came around the corner and scared the shit out of me because her face looked like a skeleton because she was so lean and so hard. But again, that was just hard work. That wasn't again, gear is gear, but that was just conditioning. And that's what everybody's trying to talk about these days. Is you're rewarding, and that's what Ronnie's talking about. I laugh at Derek Langford. I laugh at some of these guys because these guys don't have the conditioning and the detail, and that's what that guy was talking about. Smooth muscle versus conditioning and detail and muscle at the same time, and that's what the sport is lacking these days.
Yeah, we have here, shout to my man, Josh says, he says this. Josh says, they should have former bodybuilders be judges at shows.
I said it last week.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. I got a question for Keith.
Yes.
You were saying about that the reason why Natalia didn't get pulled, or the reason like Iris did at the Miss International, was because it was a tamer was involved or such like that. How do you then explain all of the other shows that Natalia placed first at that were pro shows where that didn't happen? She's winning first after first after first, but Tamer's not in charge of all of those.
Again,
So if people were paying attention to this, why didn't she get pulled from any of those?
here's the thing. This is the first year she brought this package, right? Correct? This is the first year she brought this package in 2025. Again, what I'm telling you guys is to go look at, and I'm not knocking what she did in the past because she looked great. But again, you can tell what she was doing this year to win versus what she's done in the past with her conditioning. I mean, I wasn't impressed with her body because her conditioning in the past was way better than it was in 2025. Way better. And again, if we're talking about women's physique, that is not a women's physique body. It's not. It's not. So I'm not trying to knock her from her other dubs, but I'm saying I think what she did the show in Mexico right after she did one over here. So what the fuck do they really know? You know, because who knows what the judges were there. But again, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is when you look at these people, and Heidi Cooper, like somebody made a comment, Heidi Cooper never said nothing when Derek won because Heidi Cooper was doing the same shit. You know, so nobody's going to go out there and blatantly say it. But again, I'm not knocking him, but if you really look at her pictures from 2025 and say you like to look better than 2024, you're nuts. Because it's not the same. It's not. It is not the same. It's lacking details, and people like Tina been battling with this guy like, oh, you just hate Natalia. I don't know neither one of these chicks. I don't care. You know, but at the exact same time, and I'm not fans of either one. I thought actually, what year when we was in Orlando, and Natalia walked by me, and I looked at her and said she got robbed because I thought she should have beaten Sarah that year. But she lost to Sarah. I don't know why. You know, I mean, you guys got to understand there's a lot of politics and bullshit, and that's what's coming out now about the sport. Raquel, who was, you know, the vice president of the IFBB before Tyler came in, and he, again, what was he saying? He didn't like the way the direction of the sport was going, and it's not getting better, and that's the problem. And when you understand, how do you get your fan base back? You got to start by actually being honest, putting the right people in position and not the wrong people in position to win and lose shows. But this has been, and I can tell you guys, this has been since I've been an amateur, I've been hearing this shit. And I've been a pro for 16 years now. And I've been hearing this shit since I got in the sport. Before I even knew about the politics and the bullshit, I start hearing it, and then I start seeing it, and then I start understanding it. And that's the difference. So, Jeremy, to answer your question, I'm not knocking what she was doing before because I can't remember what year we were in Orlando because it wasn't a couple years. I think it was the first year I was in Orlando, and I seen her, and I was like, man, I walked up to her and said, you got robbed. I remember saying, I'm like, you looked amazing. And she lost to Sarah. Again, at the end of the day, what judges tell us as athletes is like comparing apples to oranges when it's that close. But again, what she did this year, if you really look at the pictures, yeah, her quad, I mean, do you know how hard it is for a woman to put that much size on her quads in 9 months?
Any muscle group.
Exactly.
Any muscle group.
So come on now, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I mean, and if you really, it's like, if you really look at her legs and the way it was going, and that's what Chris Premier said, it's just something not right about this. Again, you're right, Jeremy. You're 120% right. All it is allegations. But when you're looking at something as a judge and you sitting there saying, in 9 months you were able to do this, and now you're lacking detail, but you have more size. Come on.
So this is my question for you guys. Can you walk past a girl and notice that she's had tits? Not no, but you look at her and be like, man, she's had implants. Can you guys do that?
Well, you know, my experience, you know, is, you know, I worked in a club, so I could, you know, pay attention because, you know what, natural breasts are more fuller. They're more fluid.
As a
Implants have
pro fucking bodybuilder, allegations or not, I looked at her on stage as she was performing and said, she obviously is using something like synthol. I said it from jump, and I don't give a shit if you like what I say or not. I am a pro. Sarah is conditioned. You can see muscle striations. She looks fucking normal. No offense and all, but Natalia hasn't come out and said, that wasn't me in the video. I'm charging somebody with defamation of character. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Have we heard that yet? Just asking for a friend.
She was in the doctor's office.
Nobody has come out and said, that wasn't me.
In the doctor's office.
And that dude is not going to put that shit out on social media and not have facts. Just saying.
Yeah.
So when you guys see a woman say she has fake tits, us as bodybuilders can look at people and say, well, clearly she's using something other than PEDs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's all she's going to say on that. So calm down. Take a deep breath. All right, have a man here, Raheem Hamilton in the building. You know, Raheem, hey, Raheem, before we start, how about them Bears?
Nope.
Raheem.
The Bears.
I didn't say shit.
The Bears. Well, they beat Cleveland. They beat Cleveland yesterday, so they're doing good. The Bears.
You said Cleveland.
The other Bears talking about Cleveland, but we know his girl is very enhanced. So So what you got to say, Raheem? That you came on.
First of all, every woman today in 2025 is enhanced. Bodybuilder, non-bodybuilder. What is the purpose? But the synthol situation, the question of the day is, I know it's a great conversation, but is it legal or illegal for someone to point it out that, oh, this person's been using synthol? If synthol's been used, like you said, Keith, in bodybuilder to cover certain places and everything, is it illegal to the point where you could call the other competitor out and say, hey, this person was cheating, but is it in the rule book synthol not being used? Yes or no? So that's what I'm saying. If it's not there, then
that is why everybody is using words like allegation and suggestion and rumor, because if anybody flat out comes out and says she is in point of fact on synthol, then yeah, she could sue. That's one of the reasons why everybody's using the word allegations, because they're all covering their asses legally.
So when I was an amateur, it was a big deal about gynecomastia. And gynecomastia, guys use certain gear, and I was one of them who was using something that the trainer that gave me, and I got bitch tits. I remember I was shooting a photo shoot right before USA Bodybuilding Championships in LA, and Bill Comstock looked at Flex and looked at my brother and says, "We have a problem." Because they were starting to talk about it before we had this, podcast. They were talking about it on muscular development, the forums, and all this other stuff about how athletes should get knocked on. Well, meaning guys, not girls. Guys actually should get knocked for having guys.
Nope. We just lost Keith.
Sorry about that.
Give me a second.
So they start talking about gynecomastia. I literally had to leave LA, fly home. I think it was maybe 10 weeks before USA's, have Dr. Jarvis cut my nipples off, take the breast tissue out, and put them back on. And literally I had probably about another 4 weeks of recovery before that, so I couldn't lift or do anything because they were talking about knocking athletes with gynecomastia. Now, you don't see it these days because now there's estrogen blockers for guys who use gear who have high estrogen levels and things like that. It's no different because you can see it. Bitch tits, right, Jeremy? You can see it. Bitch tits, you can see. You don't see it as much anymore as you did back in the day because they couldn't do it. But there's a lot of guys who went through the procedure that I went through, and that was I should have got fake tits because it was $5,000 for that procedure. $5,000, right, straight up front for that procedure. And I ended up still placing second at USA's to Greg Atorin at USA's in Vegas. But again, what I'm trying to say to you guys is the eye. You can see it. Gynecomastia, you can see. Bitch tits, you can see. Synthol, you can see. Depending, like if you go back and again look at the pictures of David Larrick Lunsford, he had two black, look like boils underneath his arm, and didn't get knocked for it. And it's like, again, The problem that we're having is if a bodybuilder like Chris Cormier looks at Derek, he's going to look at him a certain way, if he's judging, that is, and be like, yeah, that's not right. A judge who's just there judging because Derek's sponsors are, if you think about it, when Derek won, who gave him the fucking trophy? His sponsors. You know why? Because they were the lead sponsors of the fucking Olympia. So I remember Charles telling me, Keith, you have no idea how many checks get passed back and forth between these people who run these shows as far as where they position their athletes. And so there's politics that come involved. So as much as we may see it and understand and see it, that doesn't mean that the judges are not going to turn a blind eye to it. Because
I know
that's what everybody's talking about right now.
I remember, for crying out loud, she was just on Jada Beverly. That was something that happened with her. And that it's like, even someone like Linda Murray was pointing that out at that particular show, that she got really knocked down. But it's like Jada was wondering what was going on. Linda was wondering what was going on. Because Linda had her place, I don't know, but it was like, it wasn't where she was. I think she got like 13th place.
Well, in
or something like that. But it's like Jada was looking around like at the judges going, what's going on? They were not making eye contact. According to her, they were making eye contact with her. And Linda was asking.
The problem is with Linda, when you're asking about, not Linda, but Iris, when she went on stage, there was clear signs of hematoma, knots. They look like little knots.
I saw them. I was there at the show, so yeah, I did see those.
And here's, I'll give you a prime example. I was at the Tampa Pro, and I was at, God damn it, I used to compete against him. He has a gym in Tampa, and this guy was doing this stem stuff, so it like shocks muscles. So it was a guy from overseas. Actually, they were working on him to try to get rid of him before he competed, and I can't remember his name. He was in there before I was doing my pre-workout deal before the show, but they were trying to help get rid of those knots because hematomas are bad. Gynecomastia for a male or female are bad deals because the judges can blatantly see that because they're injection sites.
Which is why she got pulled.
And that's why she got pulled.
Because it was fairly clear. But here's another question I have. I don't know. I think this picture, I wish I could find it. I wish I could post it here. This is what I saw. This, I think, was at the Mexico show after the Olympia. And people were using this picture as evidence for Natalia oiling again. She was doing a front double bicep pose with Autumn Swanson standing right next to her. And everybody was looking in the same place that they were talking about for this supposed injection site on, I think it was her left quad.
Yeah,
I think is where people were going. And they were saying that and saying, oh, well, this is further evidence of it. I looked over at Autumn. She has the exact same mark in the exact same place. Everybody is hyping up about Natalia. Nobody said a damn thing about Autumn. Why is that?
Well, that's because she's a champion. I mean, seriously, Holly Cooper, I know. I heard it. Me and Tino at the World Championships in Arizona one year, and they were talking about Hadi and how his shoulders didn't look right, and it's not me saying it, this is me listening to some higher ups how his shoulders didn't look right. That's why he moved from 212 to open, because he just couldn't make weight, and so he went to open, and clearly it was a good move for him. But again, when you look at somebody like, here's a prime example, Keon, the 212 champion, that's real muscle. That's real authentic muscle. And again, when I say this, guys, we all know it's enhanced by PEDs. We know that. But it's not supersized by what some of these people, and I don't know who's all doing it. I was fascinated by it. I was like, wow. I seen a video before that even came out of actually them enhancing these foreign guys, these Indian guys overseas, putting pecs, quads, calves. And if you notice, if you go back and look at that video, I wish you can find it for him, George, and look, there's a video where MuscleTalk, the whistleblower in Brazil, was in the office, and Natalia was in there. Derek was in there. They didn't show the pictures of who they were actually working on, but they showed it's like chalk lines and dots and stuff, and they're watching this doctor inject them because, God damn, Rich Pianza, that was the guy. He used to go to New Mexico and do it. It was like concrete almost. If you ever look at Rich Piazza, he just never fucking looked right. But he was going to Mexico doing the same thing before all this shit even came out. And Lord knows he never became a fucking anything. But again, it just, I mean, they're diagramming this chalk and these dots. And that's where this doctor is injecting this PMMA stuff into these athletes making them look like that. I'm not going to go into a doctor's office. I remember going to Panama to see my doctor and went to the lab and everything, this, that, and other, and, you know, got my prescriptions and all this shit for all I need to use. I'm not going in there just to look around. I'm going in there to go shopping. These guys are not going into these fucking doctor's office just to hang out and look around. And then the next thing you know, this guy's on stage with Tamer in Brazil. And like hugging up, buddy. I'm like, come on, dude. They're like, come on. 2 + 2 was 4 the last time I checked.
Well, here we got here. We have a comment. We got a comment from a man here, Money J. Says, I agree with Jeremy. You have to show proof and evidence.
And I'm not going to. Sorry, go ahead.
Also, he says, Sarah, shells who can't prove anything just spew nothing but allegations. And here we have it's just from him. He says, well, if they should have bodybuilders judging for Olympia and any other pro shows, they should have done this years ago. Why?
It would make the sport 2 year.
Yeah. You think
certain people wouldn't make as much money as they're making.
Nope.
Well, you can't say that every bodybuilder knows how to judge, because here's the situation. Just like I'm gonna go and say this, not every basketball player could be a coach, and we see how that happens. That none of them were great coaches. Some were, some weren't. Even though they was like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a great hell of a basketball player, but when it came to being an owner, he was terrible. You got the situation with WWE and all wrestling. They letting ex-wrestlers be bookers. And you see now that they tearing the wrestling company to the ground. AEW, TNA, WWE, all example. So you want to be selective of what athlete could be a good judge as a bodybuilder. You don't want to bring every bodybuilder in as a judge, because guess what? Not every bodybuilder can judge other competitors because they focus on themselves. So
and your point is very well taken in that regard. I remember there's a general who was named von Clausewitz. He said, I've seen very good colonels become very bad generals. So your point is taken. However, the problem is, just because every bodybuilder can't be a judge doesn't mean that you don't have bodybuilders who can be judges and who do have the ability to go and look at.
I know, I agree with you. I say
that, but that's the point. How many of the judges out there in the judging panels are these former pro bodybuilders?
But let me ask you a question. What's that? Monique Jones? Isn't she a judge? Why don't they just bring her up into the pros?
No.
Well, that's up to her. If that's up to her, she wants to. Also, as I do content on martial arts and MMA, the fighting style between MMA and boxing is totally different. They have judges that are boxing judges, and many of them don't look at the same thing, because with MMA you have to have cage control. You have takedown. And also you're not just fighting with your fists. You're fighting with your elbows, your shoulders. You know, people saying they be bored because But the thing is, the judges who understand MMA are looking at the sacred groundwork. We get some opponent on the ground, submission attempts, and all that. But then you have coaches who don't understand. I'm saying you don't have judges that understand that. That's why I say, like my man coach, Coach Sharon Harrison. He talks about how get former fighters, get referees to be judges, because they understand the aspect of MMA. Because many of them understand everything comes from we have an opponent in the cage, gets the cage with cage control. We have them, down on takedown. Like again, many of those judges they are pulling are coming from boxing, where it's just mostly moving, ducking, on this and other stuff. We have here a comment shot to my man here. He says, well, it should have been. Oh wait, sorry, same thing. I say this. Okay, he says this. He says, I strictly keep saying that Sarah Vigors was not the standard criteria looked for women by physique for a few years ago, when she was champion. If that's the case, Sarah, should not have won Miss Olympia 4 times. But that's the thing is.
Well, yeah, but it's like you look at the top 5 you look at the top 10 over the last 5 years compared to the criteria. Who is meeting it?
None.
Who's been doing that? None of them are.
And why is that?
So
keep
so what
changing.
is the criteria? What is the criteria?
You go and find if you go over to NPC News Online and you go over to the rules section and you'll see criteria for all of the individual divisions. And what you will see for women's physique is you'll see a list of what you're not supposed to be. And the 4 words that start that list are ripped, peeled, shredded, striated. You tell me, does that describe the women you're looking at right now on screen?
Exactly. And guess who
and
said
this
it?
and this
And guess
is
who
this
said
is
it?
and this is number 1 and number 2. This
They
is
look like more like
this is not number 9 and number 10. These are the top
well,
2 at the show.
physique is more blurred now. It looks more like bodybuilder than physique. So
That's the point. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be distinct. It's not. That's
but
because
they gave
they're
it to
not sticking with the criteria.
Well, the judge
And
is not sticking with the criteria. It's the judges, not the athletes, because the judges could say, "Well, we're not going to give this award to you because you're not sticking to the criteria," and then they could have by next year they could have
That's the
changed, they could have
point.
toned
That's the
down.
point. The judges are not doing that. The
They're not
judges are not
consistent.
sticking with the criteria. They're not
And-
being consistent.
And this is autumn. I think this is back. I think 2018 or 2017 at the Olympia, where she's been on Olympia. She's been like in the top 5. This is also from her a view from, I think this is maybe around about 20. I can't see which. I know it's got to be 2016 or 2017. No, 20. Yeah.
Boo!
Hey, just if the athletes get called out on it, just tell them to be honest about it.
Don't boo the legend. That's the he
Damn
he
straight
laid
I
them
can
back
boo
down.
him. I can
Don't
boo
boo the
him all
legend.
I damn well want.
Who?
Don't boo the legend.
I can boo Arnold all I want if he pulls women's bodybuilding, women's physique, and figure
But
out his damn show. I can do
but
that.
I mean,
I can do that.
but you know what? He called the shots. I mean, he does. Listen, there's so many
No, he
shows
don't really call too
for
much
women.
shots.
There's so many. But I'm saying there's so many shows for women bodybuilding. I mean, if he pulled it, I mean, I get it. You're upset, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, he pulled
Don't
it,
call
but there's
yourself
other
a fucking
shows.
sports festival and you're pulling out fucking women's sports. Bullshit.
And this is not.
And
And
I'll
this
call
is
you out on
not.
that, Raheem.
And
Don't
right.
call it a
But-
sports
but
festival or
keep-
the Olympics when you're pulling out certain categories.
But keep. If that's the truth, then why do women show up to the Arnolds every year? They know. Listen, if you know they pulled it out, why would you want to go there?
Okay,
Because
Raheem,
as I was
do you-
told,
Sorry,
a
go
lot of
ahead.
those ladies come because they are either friends of somebody. Plus, they still have the other divisions in the amateur part because that's where they make money. No, I was talking with as I said earlier, I did a little early today. I did a little discussion with the female bodybuilding channel. We talked about how we just had a nationals, and they had the most women bodybuilders competing in you had a stat class. Like last year, they had to take and make one class for the whole women bodybuilding division, and one lady won. She won in physique. This year, you had at least some of those ladies. They also double dipped, and some were mostly exclusive women's bodybuilding. But you had at least altogether, you had light heavyweight, heavyweight. You had at least about 12 to more women competing for the pro card. The Arnold, one problem is that every year, the last few years has come up short. It has been no ladies who under pro card in physique ever since they had women's physique at the Arnold Classic. They started doing women's bodybuilding the last couple of years and had none because they don't have enough about of numbers. These ladies come support a friend or a buddy. They still have somebody who does either the amateurs or fitness competitors. They put out the list for fitness this week. 2 ladies have interviewed on my channel are competing. That's Anna Femina and Jessica Zari. And this is going to be the first Arnold, since she's been a pro. Then you still have wellness. There's a lot of ladies who friends with wellness. Bikini. And most definitely he's going to add it. Excuse me. Fit model. Because, these, and then also some of the ladies work the booths and stuff. Like Andrea's going to be there working for
Mutant.
I know I saw last year this year I saw Lola Montez. I saw a bunch of ladies there. Sheila Washington was there. Michelle Johnson was there. Teresa Vasquez was there. there was quite a lot of ladies. They go there and support those competitors, also, or work the booths, or even do a little politicking. Maybe hit up with
Okay,
some promoters.
so they networking. That's good. So why we booing Arnold? If he made the decision to pull it out, unfortunately that's his decision. But then you also got to look at what happened with the New York Pro. You see how many lack of female bodybuilders came there, and now they pulling that out next year. So it's like he said, this is politicking, and at the same time, it's a sport that needs to find its identity and everything, and can gain new fans and bring back the old fans back. So there's a lot of work to be done, you know. And also, I think Natalia should just go switch up the bodybuilder because she's getting too big. That's just me.
I think
Yeah,
it's
but here's a really big difference. Raheem, were you aware that the Miss International for 35 years was the second most prestigious title in all of women's bodybuilding?
Yes, I do.
It was that way for 35 years. This is
Yeah, I do.
also this guy who is running the show also was sat and interviewed and said there should be a place for bodybuilding for everybody. This is the same guy who said that. If that's the case, why are you pulling it from your own show?
Well, actually,
right.
The Arnold Sports Festival.
Actually, if I remember correctly, he didn't create it. He took it from another. It was called the Columbus Sports Festival. He took it because as Jeremy said, Miss Olympia predated, and it was part of that. Miss International was part of that, and then it was it's right there behind Miss Olympia. It's one of the oldest, most prestigious titles. You know, quite a few ladies, especially for ladies who like people like Laura Craval, Vicky Gates, a couple of ladies who said, you know what, I'm never going to be Miss Olympia. This is a nice secondary title to have. But then when Iris came along and started competing, and you're the current Miss Olympia, that kind of take the prestige out of it a bit because, you know, and one thing was, I think the thing was that, you know, Iris is about making money. They should have been paid, like she's getting $25,000, where you look at other guys like Ronnie or you know, or Jay or whoever was champion at that time were getting maybe $100,000 or more. I would say that she should at least get $50,000. She wouldn't do a show like Miss International if she was making money. Like let's talk about like with Andrea. You know, again, I say this: you're Miss Olympia. Your title is probably one of the oldest titles next to the men in the sport. I'm not saying you should get as much as Derek does, but you should get at least something which, hey, for respect, I respect for who you are and your title position. You know, you don't see the bikini girls getting that much because it's a popular division. You don't see even
Miss Olympia is only 45 years old, 1980. So we all it's old, but not that old.
It's still one of the oldest women titles. You got women's title because you know women's bodybuilding hasn't been going on for only maybe a little over 50 years. And this title came on right about in the 80s. We started doing bodybuilding around about the 70s, but then they changed the aspects of it because.
Raheem, do you realize how much money Arnold made when he won his first Olympia?
How much money did he make with the Wolf? No, I haven't. So you could educate me.
$1,000. Do you know how much Olympia title's worth now?
How much Olympia title's worth right now?
$450,000.
So is that both? Is that both?
Here's a prime example. When my rookie contract when I was with the Denver Broncos, it was $205. It was a rookie minimum. Now the rookie minimum now is $500,000. So money changes, and every sport's evolutionized, whether it's baseball, bodybuilding, whatever. So even women's soccer, who negotiated finally to sit there and says our sport is just as popular as men, which it is, are now making more money because they stood up for themselves. WNBA, they're talking about now women from making $70,000 to $1 million a year. The problem.
Well, let's not put WBA in there because there's a whole lot of different situations with WNBA. But we could go other sports.
It's a sport.
Why are you excluding?
Here's the thing.
What's your
because okay, when you do since their inception in 1997, they have always been in the red. They have never made a profit. They just starting to make a profit. So you can't. So when you start, if your best year.
We're not talking about profit. We're talking about evolutionizing sports.
Yeah, I know, but it's still the profit. But when you make a profit, then you evolutionize the pay. You can't really pay somebody if there's no profit on the margin. You can't. That's next to impossible. That's business 101. You can't do that.
You remember a few years ago, baseball and basketball went on strike. and then
Yeah.
because the players wouldn't get make money. When basketball came back, it blew up. Baseball had to really reinvent itself because it took it a long time for it to get popular. We just had I don't know who won the World Series this year because I don't pay
Well,
attention.
baseball. Okay. Well, here's the thing: the two sports, baseball, the three sports, baseball, basketball, and football, had always fluctuate. Remember, in the '90s, the top two sports in the '90s was baseball and football, and NBA was behind. It was catching up. NBA didn't reach its zenith until the mid to late '90s, as taking over as America's top sport because of the situation with Jordan. You see, that's how they did. They marketed Jordan and the '92 Dream Team. That was the whole thing to expand the NBA globally and to get
Wrong.
more revenue. So
Wrong.
wrong. Okay,
Wrong.
Keith, go ahead, man.
But it was Magic and Bird, not
No,
Jordan.
no. Magic. Okay, no, you got to remember. Magic and Bird was drafted during the 79-80 season. They call it the dark period of the NBA. They brought the NBA back.
Yes.
If you really think about it, the Celtics and the Lakers owned the 80s because think about it. They're the only two teams to go to the NBA Finals from 1980 to 1989. Only the Philadelphia 76ers, they threw the NBA through Philly a bone because they said, yo, this ain't going to look right if LA and Boston keeps going back to the finals for the whole decade. So they had to change things up. But again, Magic and Bird, they brought NBA back from the darkness. Jordan brought it to the world. That's how it worked. That's how it worked.
Well, we got a comment here. Shout out to my man, my brother Execution23. He says, "Happy Monday, George and panel." I appreciate that, brother, coming through. But the thing is that we go back to the situation of, is it cheating? Is it if you use a PMA, if you use synthahol, if you get an implant, is it cheating? Is it it's no different if you look at people talk about how when there was a whole situation with Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, Kosenko, and also Barry Bonds. The thing is, using steroids don't help you hit the ball farther.
Creates longevity.
Yeah, it helps you because it helps you last longer. It helps you survive. It helps you think. And the thing is that bodybuilding is very, very more close to anything a pageant. Like you see, of beauty pageants competitors that get implants, that get some kind of enhancement because they want to get lips injections. One of the most favorite all-time actresses, Marilyn Monroe, she didn't look like what she looked like. Now they did some work. They gave her some tits. They gave her some lips.
That's not true. That's not true. Marilyn Monroe was all natural, just like Janet Jackson. Everybody keeps saying
no.
Just like my girl who wrestles with bears and everything. She's all natural. Everything on her.
She should be a spare.
She just. You know how those Russian women are. You know what I'm saying? You know how those Russian women are. That's how it is.
She should be spare punching bags for a Rocky movie. We're up, Mick. Say, come in there, Natalia. Stick that sucker out there. Let Rocky hit a few times.
Yo, George, you hate because she turned you down. That's all it is. Just keep it 100.
I don't care if you turn me down. That's not my problem. That's the problem. We got here a comment from my man. Shout out, man. He says, the judging criteria is confusing as hell. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, it is. We have here a guest also, Josh Simpkins, coming through. Hey, Josh.
What's good, everybody? What's good, Empire Nation? How y'all doing?
How you doing, Josh? What's your thoughts on it? Like, we hear the rumors about synthahol, PML, stuff. Is you feel like there should be some of those things should be banned in bodybuilding?
I think it should just be fair game. It's already out there and clear. And not only that, I see this, even though she doesn't compete, her name is Alexandra Alves. She has some big, huge quads, and you could just tell she uses that stuff.
Was your girl? What was the girl from Romania? What was her name? The freakish big ass girl.
Oh, you mean
Kovaleva? No.
Anastasia. Oh no, not
competed again.
Natalia Amazonka.
Yeah.
Amazonka. Yeah.
She looks very. I used to do this to Keith. I used to do this to Keith sometimes. Like I used to pick on him because that was when he was like recovering. I sent a little piece that says, I make up like a fake Russian accent. Mr. Keith, I'm here to make you feel good.
And here what you guys here's a prime example of one of my former trainers and two guys I knew that said if they could go back and reverse it, they would have never done it because they just look cartoonish. And so it didn't look real. And it was two legendary guys from the 90s era who at the end of their career start doing it, the synthol that is. And if you really look at pictures, they just look cartoonish because they look more round than conditioned. If you look at them when they started their careers, and then they were now, they just had round muscle bellies versus condition. It just and the words that they used, it just made us look cartoonish. So I wish I would have never did it.
Speaking of
That's the problem.
Yeah.
speaking of
I think
cartoonish, did you see this Russian guy with his arms, the
Yeah,
synthball arms?
yeah.
yeah,
That now
Oh my goodness.
that now they're talking about potential amputation
yeah.
Are you
because of
serious?
Yeah.
because of
Wow.
the sheer damage that
Remember
that
Valentino from New
synthol
York?
is doing.
What
Yeah.
was the Valentino guy from New
Oh
York?
yeah,
Remember
Greg Valentino.
Greg
Yeah.
Valentino?
Oh wow.
Yeah, he cut it. He cut himself open. He cut his arm open.
Right.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Kip, this is one. I think it's Milos. He said this. Is this from? You can pull it up. It's like Milos. I think he mentioned that because he regret ever doing synth oils. Just from Generation Iron. I found this while I was doing my little research, and he said that this. He said Milos says he regrets using synthol. Says Milos recently discussed his appearance with synthahol oil during his career, and it's not positive one. Link is in the bio. You can check it out. And I remember Milos. I mean, he had amazing physique. He's reaching. I think
Yeah.
was he from Ukraine? I think where was Milos from? I'm trying to remember. It was like either Ukraine or Czech Republic, and he was
But
like
Kevin
one.
LeBron and Flex Wheeler both said it. They both said it. They go, if I had to go do it all over again, I would have never done it because it just they looked so amazing when they were, before they start using it, and then it just made them look cartoonish and it took away a lot of the detail work. And that's all I'm saying about this Italian girl. Her body just flowed, and I don't know what the guy said. I thought Sarah should have ever should have went into bodybuilding because they're all too small. But again, Big Rami's a prime example, and I competed against this guy for years. He just never had the details that some of the other guys have. That's why when Ronnie looks at these guys and Dorian looks at these guys, and Dorian will name his Mount Rushmore. He'll say Ronnie. He'll say Lee Haney. He would say guys like that because these guys, if you looked at them, had unbelievable muscle bellies in detail. When you look at Derek and these guys now, you're looking at just a big block of muscle. Nick Walker, wonder why he can't get over the fucking hump because you're just a big block of fucking muscle. No detailed, great. You got some separation, but it doesn't look the same. And so that's what people are talking about. Natalia, and I'm not gonna, and you're right. Allegations are allegations. None of us have, but like Tina said, when she walked on stage, we're like, yeah, something doesn't look right there. I'm like, come on. I mean, your eye. It's like the word I always heard when people talk about how fast I ran. The eye in the sky don't lie. I can show you any fucking tape, anything me playing. We run the 416. The eye in the sky don't lie. My eyes. And Steve Weinberger pissed me off one year because he said one comment. He goes, "Oh, you got to be there and be at the stage and be there." And me and Tina have visited a lot of Olympians, and we're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" One year, Hottie Cooper should have won. One year, Brandt should have beat fucking Jay. But again, at the end of the day, these judges are picking who they want to win shows. Alina Pelper should have beat fucking Iris one year. She didn't win. So there's that. And that's what Ronnie Raquel was trying to tell people and has come out and said it. I've seen things change and I didn't like what's going on. So you have two choices. You can deal with it or you can walk away. And he chose to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it me or is it the V? Is it me or is it the V taper dying form now? I don't see too many bodybuilders because they, like you said, Keith, they too bulky. I don't see that V taper no more. That used to be
right. You're absolutely right. The V taper was a big thing, because even me as a football player, they're like, when I train with Hani, he's like, we got to change your body from a bodybuilder's or from a football bodybuilder because we have thicker waist to a bodybuilder. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I understand I got to get bigger, but smaller waist, bigger legs, wider back, rounder shoulders. You know, and so Dennis Mitchell. I mean, who was it? Denny. What's his name out of New York? Dennis the Menace looked at me. I remember being at National. He's like, you either get your legs bigger to make your waist smaller, or get your back and your legs bigger to make your waist smaller. Because, like Raheem said, it was all about the B taper, and it's just not that anymore.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah, it's all about the back now, that Christmas tree look.
Yeah.
Here we got a comment here. Shout out to my man here. He says, I remember we had this discussion about Rachel Daniels, how her quads are bigger than Keisha Oliver, who is a bodybuilding athlete, and Rachel is a women's physique athlete, and how the lines blur. Now, I'm gonna pull this picture because I saw it earlier when he posted this, and you can really see it because I was there at Tampa and I saw Rachel, you know, and Keisha's one of her clients. If you look at her, and Keisha competed, did open and women's 40 plus. She won the 40 plus, was qualified for Masters O this year, and you can see it. Even when you come up, you look a little closer, how much bigger her quads are compared to Keisha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're about the same.
Well, and here lies the problem, guys. It's like the frustrating thing is, I go to a lot of shows. Katina competes. We go to a lot of shows. How the hell is a women's physique competitor in better condition than a woman's bodybuilder? And because Tina says because they're smaller, but they got better they got better strices in their glutes. What Sandy Williamson is on the record on YouTube saying that is not what they were looking for in the women's physique competitor. So again, we're all banging our heads on the walls trying to answer the same questions, but the higher ups are not doing anything to fix the problem, and that's where the problem lies.
You're not penalize them because you know what? She did a show. She did Pittsburgh with Natalia. She took second to Natalia, and there was a woman at that show who took fourth, and she looked more like women's bodybuilding. She did. Here is there's my girl here. Oh my gosh, she's
Andrea Shaw.
Here we are again.
Yeah. I can't. They just talked about her on FemFlex Friday. Shout out to Wendy Fortino and Linda Murray, and this is
George, just holler at her, man. For God's sakes, DM her.
Shut up, Raheem. This is my show, man. This is my shit. I built this shit.
Oh, you done woke him up.
What, George,
You done woke him up.
George. First of all, I'm doing for you. You never know. She might say yes to you, man. I'm not hating on you.
Yeah, never say never know.
Just shoot your shot, man.
Except the thing is,
Dude, I love them
from afar.
Hey, George, everybody's got a picture. George, everybody's got a picture with Andrea except you, and you're claiming she's your woman.
Ooh, shots fired.
That
doesn't work, George. That doesn't work.
Jeremy, I'm going to put you in that same arena as I put Keith and David. I love you. You're my brother. We're going to have problems.
You have problems.
Before Mother J says, sorry, but not sorry. Every time I see Arnold Schwarzenegger in pictures or whatever, I get pent up mad just because he took out women's bodybuilding, women's physique out of the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. He says, and shout out to him, he says this, I will boo Arnold. I don't give a freak. Yeah.
Stop hating on Arnold. It's not. Listen, you gotta stop. Stop the hate, man.
Stop the hate. City Johnson. I'm gonna hate. I can't hate no more. That's all.
Stop the hate. Listen. George. I'm gonna give you. George.
I gotta head out, guys.
All right.
Good conversation, guys.
George. Before I go, I want to give you a tip.
Shout out to man Jeremy. He come through every so often. Appreciate his support. Go check his
channel. Merlin.
Go ahead. We hope to get some more interviews from him in the future. You know, he's knowledgeable. Go check him out. Go to the Art of Female Muscle and check out his content. You know, he does. I hope he puts out more. We want to see more. We need guys.
Oh shit! I meant to get on Jeremy because last time I was on here, remember he told me to post that shit on that guy. You know, I got blocked off of Instagram for fucking 48 hours because I dissed what he said.
What?
Yeah, they blocked me for 48 hours, and then they went back and looked at my family, they call it, my page, and they're like, oh, my bad. I'm like, so a guy can send my wife a dick pic, jerking off, get and finishing, and I put him on blast, and you block me? What the fuck? What's the world?
WTF?
Like
It's just
Jesus.
it's stupid. It is stupid. So IG is kind of funny. You can make
Hey yo,
comments and
hey yo, keep putting me on block because I told him that the Kansas City Chiefs got eliminated.
Nah, it is what it is, dog. Hey, you can't stay on top of the mountain forever. You look at the Yankees. They were killing it for a minute. I mean, so 1 year out of what, 9? How many Super Bowls you guys got in New York? Exactly.
We got
Exactly.
well, the Jets haven't won in almost 60 years, but that's all right.
Man, that's a long drought.
No,
Hey, we're right
because
behind you.
no, because you got to remember, Kansas City, when they got their first Super Bowl since 1970, that was 51 years. So let's not go there, Keith. Let's not
Hey,
go there, man.
hey,
Y'all been in the drought since
we're
y'all been
current.
in the drought up until. Come
We're
on,
current. We're current.
come on. You got Kermit the Frog as your quarterback. Okay, nice.
Who else would you take? Would you take them? Would you take them?
No, because then Miss Piggy will come around and go, "Oh, Kermit." No, we good. We good.
I guess you guys just like losing.
Well, gentlemen, this is that's the thing is about this. What's going on in all sports. Everybody has their favorites. Everybody has that. But the debate is always going to be: is there going to be a solution to this? Or
just ban Synthol. That's it. Just ban it. If you're gonna, if it's an issue, just ban Synthol.
Yeah, it's up to the federation.
But again, how do you catch it?
Guys, you cannot ban something you cannot test for.
Okay, so we're arguing about. I'm not saying we're arguing. We're making a conversation about an accusation that Sarah saw because she felt like she lost because of a Synthol situation. So I'm kind of confused. If we can't argue, if they can't ban it because there's no testing, then what is the accusation for on Sarah's part? Not saying the conversation is good, the topic is great. But I'm just saying, what is the purpose of Sarah saying that if it's not banned? That's all I'm saying.
And again, here's the problem. Like Tina just said, girls are going to start dropping out of the sport because they don't want to use that in order to compete with girls like her.
That's the part you guys aren't looking at.
That's the part that people are not looking
Iris
at.
It's
like Iris when she brought that hard. Because people will tell you Iris would win an Olympia, should be back in the gym the next morning. Unlike other people, I'm going to go eat.
People didn't want to use the drugs.
And people didn't want to use the drugs she used. Remember, Linda said she wasn't willing to do that, so she walked away.
And that's what Natalia's going to do for the fucking women's physique.
And that's what Natalia's going to do for women's physique. Not every woman is willing to. I mean, because here's the thing. I did the research on it, and the risk versus the reward is just not worth it with all the ill side effects. The shit's permanent and things like that. Especially if you're using a PMMA versus a Synthol. Synthol, you kind of, and not unless you're like Valentino or some of these guys who just fucking want to be just fucking weird, freakish dudes.
Can I be honest with you? You absolutely right. I agree with you. The risk outweighs the reward because Natalia is 29, but she looks older than 29. So it goes for any woman. Like, are you sure you want to do this? Because it will. See, I see the PEDs not just for women, but also with men. And this sport, it rapidly ages you. So is it worth it? And if it is, then great. But if it's not, then you gotta maybe fall back on your dosage or whatever. I don't know. Maybe lower the dosage and just keep working out. Because I think right now, with the whole sport of bodybuilding right now, it's more of a chemical than actually working out. I think it's just more of them just injected and then go to the gym later instead of go to the gym first, build the muscles and then inject.
You're right. I mean, it's a 50-50 thing. I mean, and like I said to people, I said, especially for women, whether you're women's physique, even this wellness shit that's going on. I remember, George, you sent me that video when I was at the World Championships when Tina was working with John that year and Andrea, and you sent me up talking about wellness and how much of it's a joke because it's so cosmetic versus hard work. Girls are getting oil and they got guys putting fucking gasoline, like synthetic oil, not like drug oil, like castor oil, and these chicks' ass are going to these chop shops and doing all this shit. And that's what that guy was saying in that video. He was saying, you got soft muscle versus hard muscle, and you're losing conditioning to gain size, but is it good size that you're gaining versus quality size and quality condition is what people have to be looking for. Now, I can see the difference between a person like Arami or Hade Kupa or Derek are some of these guys, and I'm not putting them on blast. It's just the eye, and the eye tells you all you need to know, whether you're a judge or whether you're a judge or a spectator that know what you're looking for. And so, do you ban it? No, because it's always going to be around. And again, it's like Tina says, if you use the shit, just be honest. I came on here and I said, I tried it. I fucking hated it. It was very painful. And you got to do the shit a lot and a lot of it. And it's not comfortable at all. You are sore for fucking days. Like PEDs,
Oh, wow.
You're sore for a while versus a PED where, you know, you may be sore for a day. A fucking synthol oil, you are sore for days on end. And you have to do it more. Because what happens is when you do it, depending on what area you're trying to grow and build, you know, like here's a prime example. I read the protocol on the quad. You have to take 3 cc's and 4 heads of your quad every other day. You know how painful that shit is? 3 cc's of fucking synthol oil. Super
So is it
painful.
like a burning sensation or?
Yeah, like sore sensation. Like,
Oh, wow.
absolutely super sore. You know, you got to roll it out. You got to get massage because, again, you got to get the oil to move. And literally they tell you when it comes to synthol, you have to, like, usually the best way to do it is to do it and then go work out 30 to 60 minutes later so you can push the blood and stretch out the fasciitis in order for the muscle to stretch out to create room for growth. So it's not going to make you grow. It's just going to stretch out the fasciitis with that oil to create. And that's why guys look cartoonish and girls look cartoonish. That's why if you really look at Natalia's legs, they look cartoonish. They're huge, but they look cartoonish. And that's why Chris Cormier was saying something's not right because this is a guy who's a legend. Chris is a legend in the sport. And Tarek was trying to tell him, shut up, let me talk. It's like, shut up and let you talk. When the last time
I saw that video.
When the last time your fat ass been in the gym, for one, talking about shut up, let me talk, when you got a guy who's a legend who trains a lot of these guys who understand what these drugs actually do. And this PMMA thing sounds like a new thing that's just come out as a recent. And all he was saying and all people were saying is something just doesn't look right. Do we know exactly what it is? No. Do we know it's a synthol? No. Do we know if it's a PMMA? But it's something that is beyond the realm of a PED. Trust me. And I can tell you that firsthand. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm all natural. That's fucking bullshit. Because I lost respect for a long time ago when he said, well, I only take a shot once a week or once a year, and that's from my doctor Ronnie Coleman in North Dakota. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm looking at you. You are 330 pounds of muscle. Get the fuck out of here. I have more respect for Dave Palumbo, who completely is honest with people and will break down the elements of drugs and things like that, versus a guy who's going to tell me I got this way by just doing a shot once a week. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, some people got great genes, but not that great of genes.
Yeah.
I got God genes. That's why I'm so big.
Yeah, I got gadget.
Yeah, it's always going to be, like I said again, this is the thing about this. It's always going to be the debate of what is useful, what you can need, what is legal, what's not legal, what's part of the process, or something you just try to get your leg up. Here we got shout out to my man. Thank you for keeping me in here. My man, Money J says, if the judges decided to take a different position by rewarding Sharonica Hinton and crown her the next Olympia champion, I think WP will definitely go back to Julia McCarty standard again. I feel like I doubt it because it's already that Genie's already popped. I feel like, honestly, I said again, I feel like Sharonica Hinton should be, but we all know it's not. If anybody, just to shut up those two, I would step either Sharonica or Zama Benta. And if you look at Zama, her physique is wow. I mean, she should be
goddess-like.
Can I say this? I think maybe they gave it to Natalia because she's promoting physique as a sport outside of the bodybuilding. Maybe because she is going on these television shows in Florida. She's doing what she can to promote the sport in general. Maybe that's why. Maybe they look at her like, okay, she got charisma. She got, maybe she's not as big as Sarah, but she got the charisma, and she will go to every media site and promote the business better than, say, Sarah or the rest of the girls. Because remember, the whole goal is to promote the bodybuilding not just still in this circle, but outside into local media, which Natalia has been doing. So maybe that's why they give it to her. I'm just throwing it out there.
You have to give her that.
if you guys want to see something interesting, watch the interview on Kai Green talking about Phil Heath. And there was a few times that Kai should have beat, especially when the first generation Iron came out, and Kai should have beat Phil. And Kai was completely honest, and I agree with him 100%.
Those two are literally fighting on stage, elbowing each other.
Phil was protected by the IFBB. And I remember the first year, there's a video of me, Kai, and CC Fletcher at an opening ground event. And I remember him looking at me, and that was the first year he didn't do the Olympia because they gave Phil Heath this booth. They wanted to charge Kai for his booth. And he's like, wait a minute, we're 1 and 2. This movie was just done on us. And let's be honest, there's more of a bigger following for Kai Green than there ever will be for Phil Heath, in my opinion. Kai Green will sit on this forum with us and talk to us. He's an unbelievable person. He's a New York guy, homeless, grew up. I mean, his story is amazing. The dude's a millionaire now. But there was a thing. He came out, and he was blatantly honest. And I don't hear nobody talking shit about that. He says, Phil Heath was protected.
No, he was. Phil Heath was protected. He was. But the thing about Kai, I have to say this, Keith, the thing about Kai, he does word salad. When they ask him one question, it takes like at least 2 or 3 hours to get to the point. That's what I think people, they love Kai, but they like, that's the problem. Hey, it's like when you ask him a question, he'll go around the circle, give you a word salad.
He's philosophical about everything.
No, I know. I give him that, but it's just like, okay, so you say, hey, Kai, how was your day? He'll go, well, you know what? You be like, God, that's how your day was. And it'll be, by the time he gets to it, it's like 4 hours has passed. It's like, I asked you this 4 hours ago. How was your day?
All I'm saying, Raheem, is by you sitting there saying the popularity, if you took a vote on, especially after Generation Iron came out, people fucking hated Phil because he was an arrogant, and maybe that's the way they villainized him on the movie. But people love, and I love Kai, my wife loves Kai, everybody, but he's such a genuine person because his story is his story. And Phil's story is his story, and things like that. But if you're going off of popularity, and Phil also fucked around with his girl and it came out while he was champion. But if you polled and says, who is the more popular bodybuilder, Kai Green or Phil Heath, people will tell you Kai Green. So again, Kai said, right. I just want to be treated the same as Phil because we're equals. But again, that's why he just came out. And I watched that this week. He came out and says, Phil was protected. By who?
But okay,
and I remember being at Ambrose Gym and him being on the phone with one of the judges. One of the judges and the head judge.
Yo, Keith, just like how they protect Phil. They bury Iris because you gotta remember, no one talks about her 10 times. It's like that thing has just been done away with. No one really talks about how she won 10 Miss Olympias more than any woman, or it said the bar is up. They go Linda Murray. They jumped over her to Andrea Shaw. It's like both. I feel like both Kai and Iris been blackballed.
Because how do you win 10 Olympia titles and not the most winningest women bodybuilder? And they always say Linda, right?
Yeah, because
she's first.
They go to Linda, then they jump over Iris to Andrea. That's like, wow, how do you do that?
Or they go like Linda, Kim Zabesky, and talk about Corey Everson, and they talk about regulation. It's always going. But
they never. But mind you, Iris won 10. So why would you go from, like you said, after Linda Mary, then you go to Andrea? There's a big old gap there. Why would you do that? Mm-hmm. So it's like they blackballed her as well. That's why she don't show up to those events.
His thing is, if they wanted Miss Olympia to keep going, that last Miss Olympia in 2014, it could have awarded Alina Popa. Then that be the Miss Olympia you wanted. I met Keith knows Miss Alina Popa. That was her. That was Tina's coach. I met her. She's a beautiful woman, personal. It's just a thing was the judges went by the criteria of women's bodybuilding, but women's physique, its criteria is supposed to be less of that.
Way less.
But then if you're looking at people right now, if I'm looking at someone like Zama Benta, if I'm looking at someone like Whitney Herrera, I'm looking at someone like Richard Daniels, some of those other ladies who were in the top 10 who look closer to women's bodybuilding physique, and the judges are not penalizing them like they should. And if there's anything, someone who should really fit the criteria a little bit more was Shanique Grant. If she had won, we wouldn't have this problem. But they chose to go with Sarah. And like I said, now you have this mess.
So here's a question I pose to you guys. Now that Sarah knows what Natalia's doing, do you think she'll do the same?
I doubt it.
I have no clue. Only time will tell.
We know she got the money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband has the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said again, that's up to her. Like I said again, I'm not a big fan of. They have both great physique, I would say, but personality-wise, they're not the best. Like I said again.
Well, you know who the best is, George? Shanika Grant. She's the standard for women's physique. But they toss her to the side.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't hear much of her anymore.
Well, she's doing wellness now. I think maybe she didn't do too well in wellness. She was 16th. She's going to top 10. Nah. She's bringing in a level of muscle, which is still coming from being a physique competitor. That's why Jada, she's switching over because she still has those aesthetics, especially upper body. And, if you look at the women in wellness now, that like we saw that video where I showed with Unisha and Sunny Andrews. Those women, they did a little stuff so to get that look. And it's a lot harder for some women who don't have it naturally. And it's funny, you seen not just women from Brazil who do pretty good. Then you see women coming from like this one lady. I think if my man Kale's where it's Lily Dawn. I don't know. She looks all right, but she still don't have that overall size and conditioning for it.
Part two to my question. So do you guys think that because of Sarah saying this and putting Natalia on blast, and now it's really coming out that this will hurt her for the next Olympia?
I don't know. That's up to them. Who the judges is?
It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt her because again, if there's no rules against it, it's not gonna hurt her. And she's probably not the only one that did that. You know what I'm saying? And also, George, Sunny Andrews, all that's real, bro.
Sarah from putting it on Main Street like she did.
Oh well, it hurt Sarah. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But you know what it is. But I tell you this. But those women are gonna be careful with what they say to Sarah privately about personal things. That's what I see.
Yeah,
it's like if you I think that's how it'll be.
Because, like I said again, she was at the Nationals this weekend, and she was passing out trophies. She did a couple of interviews, and if it was that bad, they wouldn't use her. It would say, "Hey, take a low. We need not want you to be around." But Natalia was also, I think,
no, they weren't going to shoo her away.
Well, she's still dropping money in her show in Texas too. So we know this world, especially with these judges and promoters, everything's revolved around money. And we all know that these shows are based off of amateurs, not pros, because the money is not made as a pro for these promoters. The money is made for an amateur. Like I told you, one of my clients went to Master Nationals, and here's the bullshit thing about it. So it was $399 per entry or something like that for a master show. Ooh. So they only had two 50-year-olds, 140. Right. And because when she got there, they said because there wasn't enough girls in her class, they put all the classes together, which I thought was bullshit. And then the girl out of that class got the pro card. So you got a 40-year-old competing against a 50-year-old, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, how the fuck do you compare those 5 or 6 girls when they're all different ages? But yet they're all spending all this money to come out there. And I'm like, that's bullshit. But again, at the end of the day, that's a tamer show. Do you really think he gives a shit? Because he still got his money, he still got his bag. And the funny thing is, so you know what they did? So we have this big question of who should do women's physique and who should do women's bodybuilding. So you know what they told the women physique masters? Well, if you want to cross over and do bodybuilding, because there's not a lot of bodybuilding competitors, you can. And I'm like, fuck you. Why would I want to do that for $399? Instead of saying, well, we ain't got enough girls. If you want to jump in this class, we'll discount you like half. No, you paying the full bag. And I'm like, you think anybody crossed over? Absolutely not.
Nope.
No.
And you wonder why bodybuilding as a whole is not getting a lot of people come into that sport. It's like you're gonna be broke. You're gonna be a
Yeah.
broke, destitute. So this is why you
It's an
got
expensive hobby.
bodybuilders. Yeah, that's why you got people who are still competing at over 40 years old. Because again, you're not gonna get new bloods in here. Because when you break down how much it costs just to get the pro card, how much it costs to eat, and the training and the coaches and the gym fees and all that stuff, and then the injury fees,
Videographer, if you want to, or
well, you don't need a videographer no more. Just get an iPhone. You good. But like it's too expensive. So yeah, you understand why certain athletes do what they do, but at the end of the day, it's not going to gain you nothing. It's really at the end of the day, like
yeah.
Did you see your girl walked away after coming back? She's done now. She retired.
Who?
The girl from Arizona.
Melissa Tyke. Yeah, she's not my girl.
I'm being sarcastic.
I understand being sarcastic. So that's not. But yeah, she said the reason was because her last time it cost her. But again, that's up to her. I mean, it's going to be a tough. I think someone told me where I heard it was more like because how she didn't play. She took 6th place this year, but that's pretty good because when you win physique,
that's pretty good.
You never cracked the top 10. So,
but it's like Raheem just said. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's the risk versus reward. Like if you got to sit here and say, I can make more money doing this versus that because we know they're paying a shit ton more money than guys. Is it really worth competing anymore? That's why people like Mikhail walked away. It's like, is it worth putting my body through all this shit? My well-being worth all this stuff, and I'm still dropping a shit ton of money and not making what I put into the sport.
You also got to remember, some of these women, they're married and they want to start a family. Let me tell you something right now. Truth be told, if I was married to a female bodybuilder, I'd be like, yo, we gotta make babies. Like, you gotta put this on hold for how many? Like, for real talk, because I want kids. Like, you gotta. There's nothing wrong being an athlete or bodybuilder, but sometimes you gotta have a life. And I think that they think that being a bodybuilder, you're not supposed to have a life. It's just gym, eat, die, no friends. And they realize they're missing out on a lot. They realize they're missing out on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Children, relationships, all that stuff. And no one told them. This is the craziest thing. I always tell athletes and bodybuilders, you can still have a life and do what you got to do. You don't have to shun people away just to compete in these sports. That's ridiculous. That's the choice you made. That's the choice on you.
Just saw a young lady who was competing last couple of years in figure. She's making the move. I think she's a beautiful physique, but shout out to her what she's wanting to do with her life. We have one more comment and then we're done. This is from my man, Money J. Says, one never knows what Andrea Shaw's type of guy. She likes you. You can give it a shot, George. You ever meet her before Judgment Day? I thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that from you, Money J. So that people knocking me down because
George, all you do go listen. Go on her DM, say, yo, Andrew, I know you tired because you been running through my mind all day, girl.
All day, girl.
That somebody said like about 20 years, Raheem. So you better let that go. So, gentlemen,
let me tell you something. That works. Let me tell you that works. Let me tell you something real talk before we go. One time I was talking to this fine shorty right before I got married, and I said to her, I got 2 words for you. I said cheeseburger. She said, okay. Took her out for a date to a cheeseburger. That's it. You don't have to be slick. That's it. That's all.
Right. I appreciate the little advice. Andrea is just so perfect. I'm so afraid. But anyway, again, folks, this is a debate. That's up to you as competitors. Y'all know what you feel like you need to do. It's up to you what you want to. If there rules need to be changed, but it's up to you competitors to make those changes. You're not going to get it from the IFBB or anybody up because they don't care. They just want to make their money. That's it. But you should, again, we're not ever going to see a union, as my man Keith says. Not enough people want to do that because, they want to, they're content with how things are. It's not going to change. I'm just an outsider giving my point of views, my thoughts, but I do appreciate my guests here. Shout out to Raheem that was here. Shout out to our man, Jeremy, a female muscle. Shout out my man here, Alex. He's been in and out, Josh coming through, and shout out my big brother.
That's good.
So, and it's another week till Christmas. I ain't doing shit. So, gentlemen, Yeah. So, Jimmy, I appreciate your time. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my man Raheem. Sorry, my man Money G going through here. Shout out to Nicole Strout. Shout out to Josh again. Shout out to KL the Wanderer. And my man Kate.
Shout out to you, sir.
Yeah, and thank you. And shout out to also my man X Who's 23 coming through. Thank y'all for support, comment, subscribe, follow my channel. Sunday, I'm going to do my Muscle Talk roundtable discussion. If y'all want to come join me, we're going to have some ladies. We'll talk about some stuff that's going around in the world. And also, we're going to have something coming up in maybe a week or so.
Maybe I should try for once. Maybe I should try Chumin.
You should try it. Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, folks, I appreciate y'all time. I thank y'all all and shout out to you. This is your man, always your page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good night, good luck, God bless, and happy holidays.